But, you know, I mean, that was the thing. You went to college and, like, yeah, there were people that you knew, but you could be whoever you wanted to be.
Yeah, for the most part. PC was small.
That's fair.
After a certain point, you know, well, you can say who you want to be, but your actions will show who you are.
Sure.
I would say the person that I showed myself to be at PC. In fact, most of the people, anybody who knew me at PC would probably like, nah. They'd be shocked that like this is how I live my life and carry my life now. Because I don't think I treated people very well back then. I think I was very much like the pastor's kid getting out of the house and like figuring out, oh, I'm gonna do my life my way and these types of things.
PK's gone wild?
To some degree, I would say. Yeah. I mean, I've got some. They're funny still, even though like, yeah, I've had to take some lumps for them. But like, I got funny stories from like my college days of my stupidness and my stupidity. Sure. But you know, I'm very grateful that the path I took, especially in my early, like my late, like 18, 19, and then like the early 20s, didn't derail.
Sure.
As much as I think it could have to some degree. I think there's a lot of luck involved.
Well, and like, think about
some degree.
Think about being a twin, right?
Yeah.
And what that meant, you know, elementary school, middle school, high school, but then what that meant in college, right? One of the things that people always ask us as twins is like, did y'all ever switch classes?
Yeah.
Did y'all ever do anything like that? And, you know, I was like, well, we did it once in middle school, right?
Yeah,
so we did it once when we were like younger. We did it in middle school. He had French, and I had my computer class. My computer class was a game day, and I let you go on the game day. And I went to his French class, and he had to take a test that I had taken earlier in the week.
Statute of limitations, we're good.
I'm not worried about it. I got a higher grade than him
for
him than I did for me because I had already taken. I got like 100. I was like, man, this sucks, man. So like that was one time that we switched classes when we were younger. I don't know if we did it in high school.
No,
I don't remember doing it in high school.
We had no, we didn't.
Well, you were also in the.
I couldn't have risked putting you. I was about to say
you were in the
Jeez.
IB classes.
We
you
would
have
been like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, I'd have been like lost, man. There ain't no way.
This class sucks. I'm not spending an hour and a half doing this.
So we didn't do it in high school, but then what was cool about college is we got to kind of like play tricks on people, like with that. Like people at PC didn't know you were a twin, and then all of a sudden I come up, and like it was funny because like
that's right.
Popped in, it was like whoa.
Popped in the dorm room that one time too. That was wild.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one time. It's probably my sophomore year. You were coming back from spring. You were here on spring break because your spring break was a week earlier than mine, and I had a presentation.
Yeah.
And like, it was freaking crazy, dude. I was supposed to be all dressed up, presenting on patella tendonitis or something with the athletic training, some kind of injury. And I was like, hey, our classroom butted up against another room, and I was like, I can pop out of this room. You just go up when he calls my name and like start to present. A couple of my classmates knew that I was a twin, but my teacher had no idea. And dude, you're looking at this thing, you're trying to read all these slides. You're like, I don't know. And my teacher's like, what is going on? Like, you look like trash. Like, he's like, what is happening?
The words were big, too, and they were not big words that I was necessarily familiar with.
And so I bust out the other room, and he was like, like, he was like flustered. He pretty much just canceled class. Everybody got to go home. And so I basically told everybody, you're welcome. That was probably the best moment of switching classes.
Yeah, well, I think those are really the only two times. We never really... I think we were scared
of getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, this pastor's kids, bro. Sin, hell.
I was scared. I wanted to do right by my parents. I still want to do right by my parents.
Sure.
Like, I mean, even at 31, I want to do right by them. But like, yeah, I don't think I ever really ventured that far into. I did take advantage one time of when like minored in weightlifting in high school, that the weightlifting coach wouldn't like report attendance ever. So like every day our parents were getting a call from the school. It's like, hey, your son missed a class. But it wasn't that he missed a class. It was just that the teacher didn't submit the attendance. So like I skipped class one day knowing that they were going to call, and like I was good. Like that worked out for me.
I only skipped class twice in high school. Once was with you and your girlfriend and her friend, and we went to Walmart.
Fun times.
It was really fun. I had a good time.
It's because you're crushing.
I was definitely crushing. She was very beautiful. She still probably is very beautiful. I don't think that changes much. It could. It could. I have no idea. But she was very pretty, and yeah. But then the second time, I was hanging out with this girl who was younger than me, and she was like, yo, let's go to lunch. And then she was like, let's just not go to third period. And I was like, that sounds wonderful. She was really pretty too. Man, she was really pretty. She still is probably really pretty. Like you were saying, it goes back to the fear. I never skipped class hardly. Well, weightlifting, I'd do some stuff and then I'd leave. I didn't always
that
just
was the
skip
perk of having
weightlifting.
the class.
That's rude. But one time I did just walk up and my dad's off. I parked
meeting
up
with
at
the principal.
I parked up at the church and I walked right by his office and I just waved at him. I thought he was talking to our music pastor and he was talking to our principal and I just waved in the office and just got in my car and drove away. So I mean, I never got in trouble. What was I going to get in trouble for? I mean, whatever. I don't think I ever got detention.
I was scared to do that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I was more scared of
terrified.
what would happen at home. I
I was
wasn't
terrified of authority.
like, it wouldn't, none of that.
I didn't want to like.
There was one time at PC where your girlfriend at the time, she played tennis and she was on an away trip and we were at the frat house, we were on the back porch.
And I did not tell her.
And you didn't tell her that you had a twin or you didn't tell her
I
that
didn't tell her
there?
that you were up that weekend. She knew you. She had met you.
She came
Maybe.
She came up to my face and was like an inch away
close.
from kissing me.
I was,
and she
right,
was
I was
like,
on the other side of the porch. And
she was like, "You're not Jordan," and I was like, "You're right, I'm not Jordan." And then she was like really mad, and I was like, "I didn't do anything. I was just standing here."
It's all
Yeah.
good. She's good peeps.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, man. That was a twin moment for sure. I was over there in the corner like, man, if she kisses him, I'm like never losing another fight. You don't even know who I am.
You kissed my
You
twin.
kissed my twin. You
Yeah.
don't even know who I am. Like I was
keep-
just sitting there thinking like I'm
keep
about to
that in
get
my
like
back pocket.
the biggest like weapon in my arsenal, and then somehow she caught it, and then I got mad. She got mad at me. No,
Yes.
it's fine.
It was really fun. Well, she could tell probably by my reaction of like, I wasn't
And
gonna.
I venture to say up close we're probably different. I think
Close
if
we're
we're
definitely
if
different.
like we're walking from afar, like oh man, those two figures look similar, and then we get closer and it's like
This one looks like he pulled clothes out of his dirty hamper. This one looks nice. The nice one being you.
oh thanks. I was about to say like I mean I am wearing like casual stuff, but like I did wash. This is all clean stuff.
That's good.
Yeah.
I was saying dirty hamper as me because it'd be wrinkled.
Oh, well, that's all right. It's like you're like ironing t-shirts and stuff.
I don't iron anything.
Yeah.
We didn't have an ironing board.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
That's cool. I just throw it in the dryer and hope that the wrinkles get out.
That's a move you learned in college.
Well, I lived at home in college, so I didn't really have to deal with any of that.
That's
I mean, I
fair.
still did my laundry and stuff, but it wasn't like I was fighting for. Yeah, it wasn't.
Oh
Having,
God, I hated using the like in freshman year of PC, the Georgia dorm.
Yeah, well, you
I
have
hated using the
yeah,
laundry room.
You got
and stuff.
issues with like infringing on other people's lives. Like you, oh no, you can do your laundry, but it's to your detriment because then you have dirty clothes.
I didn't walk around with like dirty clothes all the time. No, it's all good.
You probably brought them home, honestly.
I didn't come home as much until well, no, I did once I started pledgeship to some degree, but Grammy was having some issues too, so like I was kind of like using that to kind of avoid being around so much. I think pledgeship was hard, man.
I can't imagine.
Pledgeship was so hard for me. I'm so glad I had Jay. There are other guys. The other guys were great too, but like I mean, I'm still very close with Jay today, and then like. Like if I didn't have him, bro, I wouldn't have gotten through all that stuff. That was an interesting decision. But like I chose that.
Listen, at PC, you kind of have to.
Well, if-
It's either social life or not.
Well, and it's Clinton, so like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of not. Well,
But like Clinton's grown up now. He got to Chick-fil-A, I think.
no, I doubt it. Well, maybe they do. But no, I know it's different now. But I do like looking back on it, I only joined that because I wanted that. I thought that was immediately going to put me in like a cool
Sure.
setting for the next 4 years where like the previous, let's say 6, I just didn't feel like I was in it. And even my high school girlfriend, the one that was here in Columbia, like I felt like because of her, it made me cooler. That was like a big factor in like probably even the longevity of our stint. Because I cared about her. But like, I mean, what I've learned is like, I had no idea that I thought I knew exactly what I wanted out of life back then. And like, I've always wanted to have that person in my life and stuff like that. But like, teenage, 17, 18-year-old Jordan has no idea what he really wanted. Because like now I know what I want, and it's completely different than like what I was chasing.
It's tough too because that seems like everything at that point, at that moment when you're in those, especially at school and stuff. Like this whole world, this people you were graduating with and everything like that, they seem like everything. And then all of a sudden, as you start to go, like you start to experience more. Some people went off to colleges and experienced a whole different part of the country.
Yeah,
and you kind of build relationships there, and I mean, it can be really easy. I mean, you're just short-sighted in that moment, I mean, even a lot of my players, they're now it's different. Some people are different. There's a group that we went to high school with that are pretty much still pretty close friends, and they spend a lot of time together. I think we spend time with 3 people that we went to high school with. I mean, me and you being 2 of them. You know what I mean? Matt
counted us.
I mean, I would say Matt Getz, being one that we see more than other people and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's people who went to other schools that we met in other aspects of life.
That's true. But it all changes too, right? Like it doesn't. It all changes.
I mean, shoot, it all changes, but nothing changes, man. No, I mean, we had even in my small class of college, I think there's one person I really talked to. Still. Well, there were only 12 in my graduating class. Actually,
it's hard, man.
Yeah.
What do you got all day to keep up with everybody?
I don't have
say all those things, and it's just.
I literally talk to you.
You barely do that.
That's fair.
But it's cool. I don't mind it. I'm staying busy with what I got going on.
It's exhausting, man. Sometimes you feel like it's not that
it is exhausting to talk to you. Thank you.
That's not what I meant.
I really appreciate.
That's not what I meant.
It's exhausting to talk to me. It's like, bro.
That's not what I meant.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, like sometimes it can feel. It's not that I don't want to communicate with people. It's just that sometimes it gets a little. Listen, man.
But we live in an age now where like we don't have to make a ton of effort to reach out anymore. Like. So like,
there's multiple avenues to reach out.
Right, but it's hard to like disengage from that on a very real level. There was a time in our lives where if someone wanted to see Jordan or win, they would call the house phone or they would come downstairs or come down the street and knock on the door.
The house phone, the good old days.
Right, but like that shows like an even more effort. Like I don't know.
Yeah, we ride our bikes around. We literally ride our. Hey. Is so-and-so at home? Can we hang out?
I know my Schwinn products. I remember that. When we got the electric scooters.
Yeah, those are cool, man. Those things could go forever.
Those things could.
Until they died, and then it's like, damn.
It's not forever. But yeah, that was cool. The little neighborhood that we grew up in. I mean, it's all been here. All in Columbia.
Yeah, I mean, even like, shoot. I mean, people would go to different places. Like,
did you burp?
No.
Smell that like beer just like
man,
slap me, man.
That's booty, bruh.
No.
I didn't burp. I'm sitting over here just talking.
I think you did under your breath.
I definitely didn't. I would know if I burped. And I wouldn't deny it. Would I deny it?
No, you wouldn't deny it.
So thank you. No, I mean, I was just saying like, people on holidays would go, hey, I got family in Greenville or Charleston or North Carolina or somewhere. All of our family was always here. Mm-hmm. We'd go across the river for Christmas Eve, mom's side of the family Christmas Eve, dad's side of the family Christmas Day.
It's still that way.
Fair. It is still that way. Locations kind of changed, but we don't have to cross the river this time for Christmas Eve. But, I mean, it's nuts. I mean, even the church that we grew up in, it's a gym now. A bunch of the other coaches and some of my players are like, oh, I work out at Move Fitness on Forest Drive. I was like, bro, I spent my entire life there. Mm-hmm. Like in that building.
Pretty much almost like 2 hours senior year, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
Then it was at Creighton. The church was met at Creighton.
Church was at Creighton, exactly. But that was the thing that killed me the most. It was like, man, it's like these are places where you've been, but things change so crazy. Like even going to Mike's house when we were young. It
used to feel like going
forever.
to the country.
It's like, bro, it's like
but like where the church, where Dad's church is now, North Star, it's like that was nothing. There was nothing out there when we were kids.
It's crazy, man. It blows your mind how things change, but it also things always change. Like that's how they're going to do. Change is a constant, right? Like we're always going to find change and hopefully change in your life to be like you were saying. Some of the people from PC might not like he's doing this, he does that, but like hopefully everybody changes.
I think to some degree there were some elements of me that were showing through while I was trying to figure out that whole stage.
I get that.
Because like that was the first time that I got introduced to a lot of stuff in this life. And it made me think a lot. I think even thinking deeply really started a lot there in college because I was wrestling so much with like internal convictions and like decisions that I was making on a daily basis, and then like would just like fog my brain like constantly and not find myself following through on what I wanted to do with my life in that time. And I found myself running away a lot. I think I learned the trait of running away as soon as I got into college. And then that was like my MO for the next 10 years was like, if it hit the fan, I'm out. If I thought I was going to miss out on this opportunity, I left. Like, and it was all cut bait, and it was no joke. Like, it was like no more going back. And then all that led to was a cycle of like a couple of years in like, or like time in the highs and then down in the lows, because I would constantly find myself leaving the journey undone, not seeing something through, and then devaluing myself back to some of those things that I had talked about before. And it's like, I almost needed college, especially the early years at PC and like the trajectory that it set me on, to get me at a place where I'm starting from brand new.
Yeah, it's funny being a pastor's kid, you know, and I think even our existence, like it tried to be some kind of controlled environment as much as possible. Like, don't expose. We couldn't go to see certain movies because of a freaking website that like explained everything that happened in movies, and you know, mom was like, no, you don't get to go see that, which is fine, like, as whatever. But I remember saying all the time when I was younger, like, how am I supposed to know what sin is without experiencing it? And that was just me being like snarky, like I was just trying to be a
jerk,
little butt. But like in a sense, it's like how are we really supposed to know? Like, you can have all the best advice, like, don't do this, but then until I feel like the pinch of what doing this does, you know, like I kind of got it. Like, don't murder. All right, I'm gonna probably not do that. You know what I'm saying? But there are some things it's like maybe it's not so bad. Then you go and you maybe try it, and it's like, maybe it is that bad, and maybe they knew what they were saying. You know what I'm saying? But you got to kind of form your own things about it. And
I think at the baseline, it's like we use these terms and they have like religious connotations. I don't mean them in those ways, but in the sense of like we all worship something, right? Like what we do day in and day out is in devotion to something, whether it be something for ourselves or something bigger than us, or, you know, there's a bunch of different avenues or whatever. But we tend to get, like, our focus tends to shift away from the right things in pursuing those, and then it starts to like really shift like the implementation of them in your life.
Well, and I think in a lot of ways, you got to kind of determine what's right and wrong for you. I think there are a lot of things out there that kind of show guidelines, but like, I'm not saying like, I don't know, you can use extreme examples there in terms of like, no, this is absolutely right. But like, you got to kind of figure it out for yourself. You can learn as much as you want to, but
I think I'll put it like this. Like, let's say in 10 years, we learn something about Albert Einstein's theory of relativity or something, one of these other things that at this point, based on what we know, this is the lens through which we're viewing life here.
Sure.
Could completely be found out to be not true, and that life actually operates in this way because we've now discovered this and that and that and that and that, and then it's like, and yet nothing, like we still had to move forward in it, right? So like, for me, I have to constantly be learning and finding out, seeking truth, to even hope that one day that I'm gonna reach it.
I think you gotta allow yourself to go down to listen to many different perspectives to try to formulate what it is.
I mean, what resonates with you really is what's key. And I'm a big proponent on the thing of like, man, if what you do doesn't impede on other people, hurt other people, or doesn't stop them from doing with the things that they want to do with their lives, then I'm in general, I got no problem.